during my
Yeah.
kidnap, the real turning point. So over the weeks, they started to realize, they used to hang out like me. And there's this real interest in the West. They wanted to know about London, New York. But the turning point was when the Taliban came in. I was being interrogated, and the commander was there with two guys with their faces covered in black shawls, and they were asking me questions, and they asked me the questions of suddenly, I was asking whatever they want to know. I haven't got any secrets. But they suddenly said, "What's the name of your children?" And all the family, the men with their guns, were watching and be told I was this unbeliever and evil spy. And I suddenly found that I couldn't give them the names of my children because that innocence I didn't want to bring into that world of that dark cell I was in. And I was holding on to that innocence to keep me strong. So I had two photos of my children who were then 3 and 4, 3 and 5. I hid them in the boots of my shoe, and every night I would just look at, because the Taliban had taken everything, but I would look at my children for 1 minute to give me strength to continue. If I looked at them for longer than 1 minute, it would break me, because I would think, I'm going to cause some suffering if I die. So I couldn't give my name, and I said to the Taliban, I said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I understood the Taliban Afghan culture, but you mustn't confront or make them lose face." So I wasn't combative, but I said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I can't give you the names of my children. I wouldn't ask an Afghan Pashtun the name of his wife, And they were like, "No, you got to tell us. We've been ordered." And I said, and I was very English. I said, "I'm terribly sorry. I'd love to, but I can't." He said, "Well, we're going to have to shoot you." And he ordered. So I've now got a gun to my head, and I just couldn't. I was very calm, but I said, "I'm so sorry, I can't give you the names." And of course, they put the gun to my fixer's head and said, "Well, give us the names to your children or we're killing you." So I started crying. And I said, "Okay." And this was a piece of luck. I named my children, but I said, "Well, my oldest son is Luke. And my youngest son is called Gabriel. And tomorrow he's 4, and I always get upset. He'll be wondering why his dad hasn't called to say happy birthday." But of course, by some luck, Gabriel is the holiest name in the Quran, the Archangel Gabriel. And the shock in this room, because they're like, all these men started crying. And the Taliban lost face. And these masked gunmen were like, fuck, because they've just seen a Westerner, a non-believer, who they say we're weak, we're corrupted, prepared to die, not to give up his son's name. Plus, I've called my son the most holy name in Islam.
Yeah.
Now, that transformed everything. The Taliban literally left because they'd lost that, didn't know what to do. But the family at that point, who'd hated me and threw the food, they didn't want to be near me because I was they felt dirty they felt I was dirty, so they didn't even like to be physically near me. After witnessing that moment and me crying, I still get emotional about it, they protected me. They offered me tribal protection, and it was actually a standoff between the Taliban. And anyway, so that was a microcosm where we saw this where they were able to see me as a fellow human being, and everything they'd been drummed into them in the madrasas. We talk about fundamentalists. That just went, because the overwhelming humanity. Now, the sad thing with our modern media, it looks like we're seeing and hearing and listening to people all the time, but nothing compares to that human face-to-face contact. And in that moment, we were now brothers and fellow humans, and it was and unfortunately we can't recreate that. We're losing some of that, but anyway,